In this gripping video, Kristi Noem and Senator Van Holland engage in a heated exchange about Pilar Abrego Garcia. We'll watch the entire video together, and I'll share my opinions with you at the end.
I was glad to see in your recent testimony that you reaffirmed your obligations to uphold the Constitution of the United States. And I understand you had an exchange with Senator Murphy on the Abrego Garcia case. And so I'm just going to put the question directly to you. Are you or DHS doing anything to comply with the 9-0 Supreme Court order to facilitate his return to the United States? Just yes or no.
This administration is following all federal court orders.
Madam Secretary, this is a simple question.
The president's prerogative on conversations that happen
Chair,
with the president of El Salvador.
I ask a simple question. We have a limited amount of time. I just asked you, Madam Secretary, whether or not you or the Department of Homeland Security are taking any action to facilitate the 9-0 Supreme Court decision to facilitate his return. This is a very simple question. Are you taking any action to facilitate his return, or are you not?
This administration is following and complying with all federal court orders to make sure that we...
So you are, because the court ordered that you facilitate his return, so you are facilitating his return.
Sir, Senator, thank you for the question, but what I would tell you is that we are following court orders and that your advocacy for a known terrorist is alarming to me.
Madam Secretary...
It's alarming to me because he's a human smuggler.
Madam Secretary, I'm going to have to reclaim
and a terrorist, and he's not a U.S. citizen. He's a citizen of El Salvador, and he's home. If he were to come back
Madam
here,
Secretary,
we would take him immediately
all right,
back.
I'm going to have to... Madam Secretary, you should know a couple facts then, which is, number one, in 2019, the immigration court said that he should not be returned to El Salvador because it would put his life in danger. The Trump administration at the time did not appeal that decision. After that, he got a work permit and was working legally in the United States of America. This is also why the district court and the appellate court and the Supreme Court have ruled as they have. I suggest that rather than make these statements here, that you and the Trump administration make them in court under oath, because despite what you just said, the federal district court whose judge is hearing this case right now said, and I'm quoting, that the administration has provided no evidence linking Abrego Garcia to MS-13 or any other terrorist activity. I'm not vouching for the man. I'm vouching for his due process rights.
Yes, you are, sir. You've
no,
been vouching for
Madam
him.
Secretary, with respect.
I would suggest that you defend and stand alongside the victims of illegal crime.
This is political rhetoric.
Citizens who live here and are United States Americans. I would suggest you advocute for them as hard as you do.
Madam Secretary, I know you're doing a political speech here.
I'm
I
not,
get it.
sir.
I'm asking questions of law. No, you're just spewing rhetoric.
I truly believe this. I truly believe this as an American.
Let me ask you this. Do you agree with Justice Scalia in the Supreme Court opinion in Reno v. Flores that, I'm quoting, "It is well established that the Fifth Amendment entitles aliens to due process of law in deportation proceedings." End of quote.
Sir, we are utilizing every due process tool that this Congress has afforded us. The Congress decides what due process is appropriate for every situation. Expedited removal is a due process that you have afforded us that we are utilizing. The Alien Enemies Act.
I'm going to reclaim my time, Madam Secretary.
So we are giving due process and using the tools that this Congress has given us.
This is really, I'm asking sort of simple questions of law. And simple questions like, are you complying with the 9-0 Supreme Court decision? And you seem to think that's some kind of trick question. Let me ask you this. You were down at CCOT in El Salvador, and you said, and that, I'm quoting, "It is one of the tools in the toolkit that we will use." And it's well known that the Trump administration is paying the government of El Salvador to keep these individuals, including those who the U.S. courts have determined were illegally taken out of the country in violation of their due process rights. Have you seen the grant document between the United States and the government of El Salvador with respect to the CCOT?
It's important that everybody knows the consequences of what happens for their actions in this country. When you break the law and you're a member of a foreign terrorist organization,
I asked you a question. Have you seen the document? This is not hard.
Yes, I have.
Okay. And What are the provisions of the document? So do you know what entities in El Salvador are receiving the funds?
I'm sure you can see this document as well and have looked at it for evaluation.
I'm glad you raised that, Madam Secretary, because I sent you a letter along with many of my colleagues here on April 8th asking for, among other things, that document. Will you respond to the letter that we sent?
I will respond to your letter.
Thank you. Can I get some sense of when?
We will take a look at it. I don't remember seeing your letter yet, but I will certainly take a look at it.
Well, it's been there over a month.
You've got to see this, folks. This sort of thing makes my blood boil when I look at this administration. They take the stage at these hearings and fail to provide clear responses to straightforward questions. We're not talking about complex puzzles or hypothetical scenarios, just simple yes or no inquiries. And why can't they answer? Because the truth is not in their favor. The truth lays bare their double standards, showing they're openly ignoring the laws and systems they claim to uphold. Now, let's dissect what went down during this whole back and forth. The senator wasn't seeking views on policy or asking for some campaign spiel. He questioned them about a 9-0 Supreme Court ruling, 9-0. That means every single justice, liberal and conservative alike, agreed. Such unanimity is uncommon and powerful, demanding immediate respect. But what did the DHS secretary from Trump's administration do instead? She ducked the questions repeatedly, putting on a political show with rhetoric intended to stir up supporters and sow doubt rather than directly addressing the law. And then came the slander, when the senator presses hard, asking, "Are you complying with the court's order to facilitate his return?" Suddenly, bam, the secretary flips it to, "Your backing for a terrorist worries me." What? It's appalling. This is their go-to move. When cornered, they don't reason, don't debate, don't provide proof. They merely slap a label on you. You're with the terrorists. You're supporting criminals. You're against America. That's their narrative, the exact same one Trump has used countless times. Let's be honest. The senator wasn't backing terrorism or crime. He stood up for due process, something we all should cherish. Because once it's stripped from people we dislike, it's just a matter of time before it's taken away from anyone. Today, it's Garcia. Tomorrow, it may be someone else. This is the slippery path that authoritarian regimes flourish upon. Now, let's unpack Garcia's story a bit more, the part they wish you'd ignore. Back in 2019, an immigration court looked at his case and concluded that deporting him to El Salvador could endanger his life. This isn't gossip, it's a court's decision. And what did the Trump administration do? They didn't contest it. They let it be because even they understood the evidence held water. Following that, Garcia had a work permit and was legally employed in the US, living by the rules and trying to do the right thing. Then suddenly, deceit took over. Abruptly, he was smeared, branded, out of nowhere, with baseless labels such as terrorist and danger. Yet, in actual court proceedings, they couldn't substantiate these claims, neither at the district level nor at the appellate or Supreme Court. 3 chances, and each time they failed. Nonetheless, they're still spreading unfounded allegations. This is where it turns cruel, because we're talking about a living, breathing person. A man who risks harm or even death if deported. A man who is contributing to society, observing laws, and living his life. But this administration reduced him to a political pawn, robbing him of rights and endangering him, all to score political points in a hearing. This isn't justice. This isn't leadership. This is cruelty masquerading as sport. That's why the senator's words on due process were pivotal. Quoting Justice Scalia, a conservative mainstay, emphasized that even non-citizens deserve due process in deportation cases. This isn't some radical leftist viewpoint. It's not progressive activism. It's constitutional law. Yet the secretary evaded and deflected, retreating into rehearsed talking points. This conduct is perilous because when those in authority normalize such behavior, ignoring unanimous Supreme Court verdicts, smearing adversaries, and fabricating threats, they weaken our democracy's bedrock. They transform law into entertainment, justice into propaganda, and truth into a tool serving the top tier. That tier being Donald Trump himself. Consider the precedent. If they can disregard a 9-0 decision now, what's next? What other laws, rulings, or constitutional rights might they dump simply because it's inconvenient? When a government makes the rule of law a pick-and-choose affair, where accountability is conditional, it's no longer a democracy. It's governance by caprice. Think about it. This is why these exchanges are so aggravating. It reveals that these figures aren't driven by facts or evidence or constitutional values. Their agenda revolves entirely around loyalty to Trump and showcasing dominance. That's all. And here's the stark truth. It extends beyond just Garcia or this particular case. It's a repeating theme. From the election falsehoods to the Muslim travel bans to the inhumane family separations at borders, each time they're challenged in court, their claims crumble. Unfortunately, the damage is usually done by then. Families shattered, people forcibly removed, lives already harmed. This is the human toll of this government's lawlessness. So when they claim to adhere to all federal court orders, don't fall for it. Scrutinize their actions, the judgments against them, and the numerous times they've been caught in court falsehoods. That's the reality. Their bluster is mere distraction. Ultimately, it's about one singular objective: power, possessing it, using it, and targeting anyone standing in their path. That notion should chill every American, irrespective of political affiliation. Because if they can dismiss the Constitution out of convenience, they can just as easily overlook it when your own rights are on the line. What do you think, folks? Because Garcia's situation transcends his personal case. It's about upholding the rule of law. It's about our collective belief in due process. It's about whether we're prepared to hold leaders to account when they manipulate the system to their advantage. Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm eager to hear where you stand. And remember to give a thumbs up to amplify this video. If you're new here, hit subscribe to catch all future discussions. Until next time.